Hi everyone, this is going to be kind of the long form video of how to use FlipGrid. It's meant to cover all the topics we covered in the webinar. Over the next week or so, I'm going to upload several small videos, so if you want just a specific skill and you don't want to necessarily watch this whole long video, you can check out the North Haven Tech Help Drive, and there will be explicit skills in there, just specific little ones instead of this long video. But I had people ask for a recording of the webinar, and there isn't one, so this is kind of to replace that. So to log in or sign up for FlipGrid, you're going to come to flipgrid.com. You can use this blue rectangle up here on the right, or this red one down here in the center. And I'm not going to be able to take you through all of the steps because you notice that now it's going to go right to my page because I already signed up. But what it's going to ask you is it's going to have you choose your email and make sure you select your work email, and then it's going to have you give permissions, and then it will create your account just like it did for me. You won't have any grids like I do, but notice I have these grids here. These are my classes. The grids is going to change to groups at some point. I don't know when. They just gave us a bunch of these updates last week, and not all of them have taken effect yet. Some aren't going to take effect till August or September. But if you log in September, it might say groups instead of grids, and it's just your classes. To add a classroom, you're going to come over here to the left of this and see this red rectangle. You're going to click Add New Grid. You're going to type in your grid name, and then you're going to choose how you want your students to log in. So you have two different options. You can either choose the email option or the student ID option. I really recommend the email option. And the reason is that it's a lot easier for your students, especially your young students. So to do this, you can post an assignment to Google Classroom, and it can just be an intro assignment. They supply you with one that's just introduce yourself and share a fun fact. And you post that to Google Classroom. With this option, students click the link that you put in Google Classroom, click sign in with Google, and then click their email and click OK. And that's all they have to do to sign in. If you choose student ID, what it's going to do is you have this code that's your classroom code at the bottom, and you're also going to have to create a student ID for each student. So then the students have to go to flipgrid.com on their own. They have to enter your code and then enter their ID, and that's going to be their login every time. So the email option is just faster and more efficient, and I really recommend that. When you're done, you click Next. This is just confirming that all of your students' emails are going to end in northavenschools.org. If that's a privacy feature, it's one of the reasons we can use it in Connecticut. So you're just going to click Next there. And now your class has been created. If you want to, instead of sharing your code with an assignment, you can right now just share it directly to Google Classroom, or you can copy it and put it in an email and email it to your students. Either of those is fine. I just like the idea of sending it at the beginning of the year with the first assignment. So this is your this is your grid page. And the way you would get to that if you weren't creating your first grid is in your home page, you just click on the rectangle that is that grid. You'll notice that right here you have this topic down here. That's what they call assignments. This one's a pre-made one, the one I already mentioned, but you can also make new ones. If you want to look at the topic and see all the directions, you click View as a student, and it's going to show you the student view. If you want to, you can hide a topic, and that means that your students won't be able to see it. So if you want to make one and then not assign it for a week, you can hide it. You can also freeze a topic. So if you told your students that they have to get the assignment done in a week, at the end of the week, you could freeze it, and then nobody can add more comments. You can also share the assignment by clicking the share button. And that's the same pop-up we had before, but it would just be the specific assignment. And you can send it to Google Classroom, or you can copy the code. For our younger students, you could also print out a QR code, and then they could, just like they use a QR code to log into their Chromebook, you could print out the QR code if you wanted to. I mean, it would be kind of intensive, but you could print it out and give them to them, and they could sign in that way. Up here at the top, by your class title, you have your flip code for your class. You also have add a co-pilot if you want to add a co-teacher. You can share, and that brings up that same pop-up. You have your actions menu. A lot of these are already available in other places. So for instance, the edit grid, you could just click this pencil. You don't have to click the actions bar first. Same thing for add co-pilots. The duplicate grid is a nice feature. So we're going to go into the edit grid soon and look at the settings options that you have. What you can do is you can create one class, change the settings the way you want them, and then click duplicate grid so that you have the settings already set up in your next class and you don't have to change them again, which is kind of nice. Grid notifications are emails. We're going to do that in our settings as well, but you can do it from here if you want to. And that just is how often you're going to get an email letting you know who has uploaded videos. If you use Teams, you can integrate with Teams. You can also export the data that you've collected in this class, and you can delete the grid from here. So the next thing we're going to do is settings. To do that, you click the pencil. Some of these things we've already done. So we created a class name, we have a code, we chose how our students were going to sign up and that they were going to have these types of emails. This is new. So what this is right here for features is whether or not the class is active or hidden. So you can always keep the class hidden until the first day of school. And I can't really imagine another reason you would hide it if you're making a class, unless you were just playing around to see what the features are. So usually, mostly, you're going to have it active. The notifications are the email notifications I was just talking about. They default to daily. You can change them to weekly. You can get an email every time a student uploads a video. You can also not get any emails ever if you know you're going to be checking and you don't need that update, or you don't want that many emails in your email box. Download and share is a feature for students after they've created their videos. And what it does is once they've created their video, it will come up with a pop-up offering them the option to download their video or to share a link of it. Now, for our older students, our 16, 17, maybe 18-year-olds, that may make sense because they're a little bit more responsible. We hope, they have the ability to make those kinds of decisions for themselves. For our younger students, our first grade, second grade, fourth, fifth grade students, we might not want to let them have that option because they are still kind of learning how to control their presence online and with other people. But that's up to you and your class, your students, what you feel is best. To turn it off, you just hit the toggle. And then to turn it back on, you hit the toggle again. Grid followers for our middle school and high school teachers whose students may be using their email more. You can turn on this toggle, and that way when you post a new assignment or topic, it will email the students and let them know, all of the students. It's just a nice backup. If a student claims they didn't know they had an assignment to do and you've posted it to Google Classroom and they got an email, they don't really have a reason to not know that there was an assignment at that point. So it's a nice little way to make sure that your students have the information they need. The videos have an auto-generated caption option. It will default to English unless you're teaching world languages. I'm guessing you'll probably want the English captions, but if you're a world languages class, you could click these arrows and choose another language. Just like in Google Classroom, there's a banner across the top of your classroom when the students go in. If you want to change your banner, it will default to a random image. You can drop an image into this box, or you can click this box and upload a file. They also have pre-made options down here, so if I were to just click this, now I have a new banner at the top of my class. When you're done, you can click Update Grid, and whatever settings you chose will now be saved for that grid. So that is how you log in and create your first class. I'm going to show you how to create your first assignment using a pre-made assignment, and then we'll go over how to actually make an assignment from scratch. So one of the options of FlipGrid is that they have what they call their disco library. It's just a database of assignments, of video assignments. They have quite a few different organizations that have made their own video playlists of assignments. So the Met has one. You'll see that MSN Kids has one, Code.org has one, Epic has one, which is kind of nice. BBC has one. So if you had something specific, like if you were doing current events, you could go to BBC or MSN and you could put something in from there if you wanted to. If you scroll down a little bit further, I don't know why this isn't at the top, but it isn't, you can search. So, oh, I didn't mean to click on that. Sorry, guys. So I'm actually going to start with the preschool to kindergarten because I know that our early elementary teachers have the hardest time finding online resources that are effective. So if you search by audience, you can also select the topic that you want to cover. So I'm going to choose language arts. And then it will bring up those options. So let's try this one, my favorite toys. It will show you whether it's a video or an image or a GIF here. That's kind of what the students will see to help them with the assignment. This one's a video. It will show you the integration notes that the teacher included when they made the assignment. You have the option to add it to your favorites so that if you don't want to assign it yet, you can just save it for later. You also have the option to share directly from here by hitting that share button and bringing up that share pop-up again. If you want to, you can assign it through Google Classroom, which is what I would recommend because that's easy. You just choose your class, click Add, and now it's going to let you edit the assignment. So you can edit the title, you can edit the directions, you can change the length of the video that students can respond with by clicking these arrows and choosing a different one. I have mine set to video moderation automatically. I have that in my settings preset, and I'll show you how to do that yourself later if you want to. So video moderation means that your students make their video response, they submit it, but it isn't public to the classroom until you okay it. And when I say public, it's always public just to the classroom. It's not going to go anywhere else. It doesn't get viewed by anyone other than the other students or co-teachers in the classroom. The focus is the video that the other teacher posted. If you want to, you can add another video. You could add an image. You just have to delete this one first and you can add a different one if you want. There's a place for you to add tips for the students to help them be successful. You can also add attachments. Notice that it's not an upload option, it's a link. So for Google Docs, you would want to go in and get the link to share and paste that link here. Then once you were done, if you wanted to add more, click this blue rectangle to add more options or more attachments. The topic status. This is where we were talking earlier that things can be active, frozen, or hidden. The nice thing here is over here on the right, you can choose to have it automatically freeze. So if you only want students to be able to access the assignment for a week and then you don't want them to be able to access it anymore, you can set that and now it will freeze automatically at the end of the week. You can also control the video features. So this again, once you set this once, you have the ability down here to click this checkbox, and when you click update topic, whatever you've selected here will be saved for all your future assignments. So you're not going to have to do this for every assignment. You only have to do it for the first assignment that you create. These are your video features options. You have selfies and videos. And what that means is the students can create a video to respond, and at the end, they can take a picture of themselves, or if they're kind of shy and they don't want their face, they can take a picture. If they read a book out loud to you, they can hold the book up over the camera and take a picture of the book. And that becomes the thumbnail image for the video. So in the class page, just like when you're scrolling through YouTube, you'll have these thumbnail images of the videos. And if you do videos only, it will just kind of choose a random video, and we all know, or a random image, and we all know that those don't necessarily always look nice, and they might not be pictures that the students want of themselves. If you enable the selfies and videos option, they get the choice at the end to take the video that they want to be their thumbnail. So I kind of prefer the selfies and videos, but you can use any of these other options as well. Video editing is another option. So students have the ability with this program to take more than one video or video clip and put them together. They can rearrange the clips. They can add stickers. They can add what they call sticky notes. They can change the filter just like you would on like an Instagram post, or in, I think, Google Photos lets you do that now. And there's just a lot of different options. So obviously that can become distracting in the classroom. So if they're in the class and time is at a premium, you could potentially maybe turn that toggle off. But if this is learning from home, or if it's a homework assignment, you could also leave it on and let students be really creative and kind of take some ownership in the production of their video and how it looks, which is also important. I'm sure you can all agree. The toggle here is video title. I don't really see why we would turn off the video title toggle, but if you don't want them to add a title, you can. A nice thing here is they can add hashtags. So if you want students' work to be kind of more easily searched, what you could do is you could ask them to put hashtag fractions in when they do a fractions worksheet, and then later when you're searching, you can search for student videos by fractions to see how that student specifically did in that area, if you want to, later. Attachment link lets them add a link, just like you did. So if you want them to upload a worksheet, so one of the options that I really like, that I think would be a good idea with this, is to have students practice using math language and science language, especially when they're learning from home and they're not working in small groups, so they don't get to practice using that vocabulary as much. You could have them include the worksheet and then choose one of their questions to explain out loud conceptually to you on the video, and that might be a good option. These are both toggled off for me, and I think it's likes is going to be toggled on automatically. I turn both those off. I don't like the idea that these assignments, that students might get into their head that they, oh, this many other kids viewed my video, or this many other kids liked my video. It can be a nice positive reinforcer, but if they're not getting as many likes as other students, or they're not getting as many likes as they got on a different video, it can also become a negative and anxiety-provoking thing for our students. So I like to toggle those off. But if you think it'll be a good incentive for your students, it's whatever's going to work best for your class. The sticky notes I will show you later. I don't feel particularly positive or negative about sticky notes. They're a nice thing, and I'll show you how they work later if you want to. You can toggle them off. Student-to-student replies. Right now, students can only reply with videos to each other. So if they watch another kid's video, they can also reply with the video. But starting in August or September, they'll also be able to reply by text. That is a new feature that they're going to add, but they haven't added yet. So that will be a nice thing. But if you don't want students to be able to do that, you can always toggle it off as well. For feedback, it's a really easy way to grade the videos, and I'll show you how that works later. But you can just use their default feedback, which is it grades 0 to 5 on their ideas and performance, and it's just two different criteria in a rubric type format, and you select 0 through 5 for each one, and then click done, and the students get their feedback. You can also create custom feedback by clicking custom feedback and then add criteria. And just like any other rubric, you put in the name of that criteria, a description for the students so they know what they're supposed to do to meet it, and then The minimum score is probably always going to be 0 or 1, and then a maximum score that you think that they should get for that criteria. When you're done, you click Create, and it will just have a list of your criteria, just like any other rubric would have. And then, as I said earlier, if you want to save these settings so that every assignment has those same settings, you come down here on the left and click Save Changes to My Default Settings, and then click Update Topic. So now you've created your first assignment. What we can do, I mentioned sending it through Google Classroom, is you click Share, then click Google Classroom, and this is going to come up just pretty much exactly like Google Classroom, which is nice. You choose the class you want to share to. This is an assignment, so I'm going to choose Assignment. You can add instructions, but you do have to at least have a title. I'm not going to put instructions in for now. You can organize it just like you would do with Google Classroom when you post things from Google Classroom. You can change the points. You can also change which students get it, just like you would in Google Classroom, and you can add a due date. When you assign, you can assign it right away, or you can schedule it, just like in Google Classroom. So now I'm going to take you to the student view. This is one of our fake students, Sansa, and notice in her classroom, right at the top is this assignment. The FlipGrid link shows up right here. She clicks FlipGrid, and then because I did sign up with email, she clicks Login with Google and her email. Now she's logged into her class. This assignment will be the only one on the page, but if she wants to at some point go back and do an assignment that she missed or redo an assignment, she can come over here on the right and click this arrow so that she can see previous topics that have already been posted. From here, if she wants to watch the video, she can click play. It will give her the option to watch it in a different tab if she wants to watch it full screen. And then when she's done, she can click this green circle to make a response video. Notice that since I had it moderated, it lets them know that it's going to be moderated and that it won't post automatically. So if we come back to the teacher side, this is my side, I'm going to go back to my home page. Let's say I want to create an assignment from scratch. The way I do that is I come to Class 1, my class, I scroll down, and I click Add New Topic. From here, I create my title, and I can put in a question. And then the only option that is new is the focus, because there's not one already made for us. We have to create our own focus. So you can add a video from YouTube, add an image, a GIF, an emoji. You can do Kahoot or Adobe Spark. There's a couple different options. We're going to use record a video, and that way I can show you how you record a video. Once they click the green button, this is what they will see. And from here, and this is what you will see as well. So you'll both have the same options. Both you and the students have the same options. You will always have up to 10 minutes. Theirs will be different depending on what you selected for them. They can choose filters. So again, I'm going to show you these because it is nice, but it's also so you can see how it can be a little distracting. You might want to have a conversation with them before you give it to them. This is a nice filter for your kids that might be more shy. They can choose that filter if they don't want people to be able to see their face, or they're a little unsure about making a video and sharing it with others. They can add text. So they just choose the font and then type. From here, they can change the background color, the outline and the text color just by clicking on it and then clicking a new color. When they are happy with it, you can click this arrow to get out. And then notice you have the little grid button that shows up when you're over top of it, so you can move it around. You can also delete it. You can change the size. You can reflect it. And you can copy it by hitting the duplicate button up here. The next option is to add stickers. There's quite a few different stickers. So you have your regular emojis. You also have people emojis, and they're pretty extensive. I'm going to give it a second to load. So if you can just see as I'm scrolling through, they have quite a few stickers that they can include. This is another option. If they're kind of nervous about showing their face, they could choose a sticker and they could put it over their face. So for instance, I could choose that emoji. I can make it really big. And I could put it over my face if I was a student and I was nervous about sharing my face. The next option is to write. This would be better for touch screens, but it is an option. Obviously, it's not perfect, but it's there if they want it. You can clear the whole screen by hitting this clear button at the top. You can undo or redo if you want to with these arrows. Another option is the whiteboard, so you can switch it to a whiteboard or a blackboard, and then you can write on it. And you can undo just like we did before. You can also get rid of the board. The last option, and I could see this maybe being helpful if you want them to talk out a problem or a new concept, is they can upload a picture. So they could use their Chromebook to take a picture of a problem or an assignment, upload it, drag and drop it into here, bring that onto the screen and have it take up half the screen, and then just move their head so that they're on one side of the screen or the other, and talk about their assignment that they just posted or made visible on the other side of the video. It's also something you could do if you want to send them a video with an example problem on one side that you can talk about. Once they have everything set up here, so they can do all those things before a video starts and have it for the whole video, or they can do it throughout the video. So all of that I did without recording yet, and it's just, so for instance, this text is already going to be here when I start the video. Once they're ready to record, they hit the record button. It will start recording them. It gives them the countdown of 3, 2, 1. There's this sticky note option that I talked about earlier, and you just can put in a little note. And so it'll be there. It doesn't, you can't like move, well, you can move it around, but it's not, you can't like change the size and stuff like you would with the other options, but it's there. And then you could delete it. So the sticky note could only be there for part of the video. When they're done, or you're done, you click pause, and then next. So it will automatically start playing the clip without sound. Options that they have is to click up here and they can trim the video from the beginning or the end. They can delete the clip if they want to. They can rewatch it. And then when they're done, they click confirm. If they want to, they can add more clips by clicking over here on the left that says add more. And once they've done that, they can then rearrange them as well. If they don't want to, they click next. This is the selfie part where they can decide what their thumbnail will look like. They take their picture, and then next. So this is where if you had made it possible for them to download and share, they would have had that option to download and share. So once you've uploaded the focus, if you want to, you can come over here to more options. and then you can add any of these other things that we talked about before. You can add a topic tip, you can add attachments, and you can also come down and change the video features and feedback if you want to. If that's already the way you want it, you can click Create Topic, and the pop-up to share will come up. You can copy the link and email it. You can print out a QR code or send a QR code, or you can share it directly to Google Classroom, just like we talked about earlier, and your students will have access to it. Now, I'm going to go back to one of my grids where I already have a student response, and I'm going to show you what the grading is like. So this is an assignment I posted that has a video. Now, I've already given the student feedback. You can see the 10 out of 10, but just so you can see, this is what the grading page looks like. This is the rubric, so ideas and performance. You can also add comments if you want to. When you're done, you can click copy feedback link, or you can email the feedback. In this class, I had not used the email sign up. I used a different sign up. So I used the student login ID. So you will have the email feedback if you use the email sign up. If you use the student ID login, you'll have to add them. So that's another downside to using the IDs instead of the emails. Let's say I wanted to change the student score, I could. You can also click here to add video feedback. These are just ways to kind of reinforce your students, so you can feature it, which moves it to the top of the class page. You can make it a Spark video, which means it becomes its own topic that students can respond to directly. Or you can make a mixtape. I don't know how effective mixtapes are going to be, but you can use them if you want to, which is for each topic you can take the videos that you think are the best and you can make them into one little playlist, and it will be in the class mixtapes page, and if the students want to watch it, they can. That's an option that's there. You can also reply down here with a video, and eventually that reply is going to let you reply with text as well. And when you're done, if you need to get out, you just click the X button, and now that's been graded. So that is everything that you kind of need to know to get started on FlipGrid. If you have any questions, feel free to either email me at chelmu.jesse@northavenschools.org or make a ticket with support@northavenschools.org. If you have any ideas for what we could do with it in the classroom, also please email me and let me know, because I can share them with the other teachers when we do training sessions on it. And I hope that this helps you with your class.